Welcome to a new episode of the second Great War mod for Age of History 2. Today we will be playing in a new nation for the new update that is coming to TSGW. This will be an interesting start because as we've seen as Poland, Spain and other nations are much more popular, so I'm not gonna play as those just right. And today we will be playing as a different nation, one with we haven't really touched on, and will be updated and given its event tree, which I will show today in the new update for the game. So today we will be playing as Canada, or the Dominion of Canada, which was historically like an autonomous domain of the British Empire, but by World War II it wasn't really affiliated with Britain as much as like just normally allied, not really a subject anymore. I mean, it was still a monarchy, but not much more than that. I'm gonna put the normal settings, and that's the start for it. So we have our Ottawa capital. And then we're gonna get this right. Okay, so now that this is done, we should start and see what events come. Good, so this is the first event. Oh Canada, the Dominion of Canada finds itself as a historic crossroads. Shaken by the Great Depression, Canada finds itself attempting desperately to shrug off the effects of the dirty 30s. With many Canadians unemployed and struggling to find work in the Dominion, Canada stands still, and its history hangs in the balance. Our nation will survive, so this gives us a bit of happiness and major cities. In the meanwhile, the world is progressing, so I'm gonna just see what happens. Like Abyssinia making the pact with Italy, Germany already invading Belgium for some reason. That's something that happens sometimes. Some things have been patched in the new update, which will be released shortly after this video is published. Not so shortly, but still not like a week of time, less of that. In this new update, things like Israel becoming problematic when it comes to the UK won't happen anymore, so there won't be that bug, and some other bugs will be resolved. And of course new content, so like for Canada, Mexico and some other nations here and there. You can see in the updates, I will link the forum for the mods in the description so you can see. Okay, so second event is Winnipeg election. James Litterick, representative for the Canadian Communist Party, finds himself victorious in the Winnipeg regional election this year. His rise shows an example of the rising Canadian labour movements. Their rise, unless monitored, will be endless and threaten the Canadian democracy to come. So we can either stop them or just say that it's an interesting development. I haven't really chosen just now what to go with ideologically in this playthrough, so I'm just gonna go over an interesting development for now. And let's see what keeps going. Oh, so okay, this is interesting. Apparently the United Kingdom went for the abdication of Edward, the event, so it has repercussions on us being a Dominion. Many in Canada were appalled to hear that the Crown Prince abdicated. A well-liked man in Canada, the abdication has led to many intellectuals questioning the Canadian decision to not install a monarch to rule, and they are beginning to lead towards inviting Edward to Ottawa. A strong king in Canada may just be what the nation needs, so this is like an event for an invitation. It doesn't really make us more of a monarchy since we are already a monarchy, as you can see, but it could bring to some events. But I think we should intervene with the Emperor more than enough. I think we can let him remain in Europe. And it will also improve our relations with the United Kingdom, because we won't be really hosting a king that had abdicated. So we'll have to wait now and see what happens. So this is another event. This is more or less concentrated in like Canadian sphere, so not really external to Canada. The Moose River gold mine collapses. Another mine collapses in Nova Scotia, leaving 3 men trapped inside the mine. Another hit to the Canadian economy. This is catastrophe. We need to save the workers, or we can't afford to save them. I'm gonna go with the... I guess I'm gonna save the workers. I mean, we have a decent amount of money. I don't think we have that much to lose from this. But we have a pretty big economic hit when it comes to Nova Scotia, but not as a nation as a whole. So let's save them the miners, I guess. I'm seeing that the rebellion is happening in Turkey for Burson. Okay, that's interesting. Germany still not has resolved this war with Belgium, so it's still there. And Italy actually has done the event path and makes them get part of Abyssinia, but remains the last, like, independent. The rest remains independent, and Spain is going through the civil war. We'll check Europe until new events come. Okay, so this is good. Adrian Arcane voted as the new leader of the National Union Party. Well-known journalist and political Adrian Arcane, known nationally as the Canadian Führer, okay, has been voted to the head of the NUP. Though the party still holds little seats, Arcane seeks to create a centralized fascist Canadian state. Though considering a thug by many, his appeal is growing, especially in Quebec and Western Canada. And if not modern, this thug could turn from a villain to a tyrant. Okay. This poses a threat to democracy, or it's just another politician. I'm gonna think with... gonna go with... it's just... I guess another politician. Yeah. It's bringing a bit of happiness from our nation, but still interesting stuff can come from this. Okay. Newfoundland question. Increasingly, Newfoundland and Labrador have found themselves undeveloped and underfunded, with many calling for annexation into Canada due to Britain's continuous neglect. Their annexation will be a great Canadian moral boost. So Labrador and Newfoundland, for those that do not know, are these two lands. So Newfoundland is this one and Labrador is this one. And they weren't part of the Dominion of Canada, we're actually part of like the colony of, I guess not really colony, but more like a, more integral to the United Kingdom than the rest of Canada, I would say. We can either like ignore the area and just leave it as it is and not risk an argument, ask the British to give it or buy it, and since we don't really have that amount of money, we'll ask Britain to give it to us. And we'll go for this one and see what Britain actually answers. Okay, they accepted. So now we have annexed these two lands. So now Canada is like exactly the modern borders, nothing changed from the modern borders. So we got, I guess, the irredentist territories of Canada. I'm gonna integrate this very quickly. Let's keep going. Okay, so the Anxious happened, which is pretty interesting. Okay. Nothing really too insane has happened in this campaign yet. I guess China actually next, Manchukuo, so that's something, I guess. Okay, it's 1938, so years are passing by very fastly. And you can see the Sudetenland has been annexed. And we have a crisis now. Quebec crisis. Quebec, a region of Canada, or Quebec, I guess, a region of Canada characterized as unruly and Francophilic, has seen waves of nationalism wash over it, with riots in Toronto to Quebec City, though for now currently under control. Should Quebec not be handled with care, we could see the current peaceful protests turn into dangerous guerrilla warfare. Okay, so we can either choose to fund local police or talk with the delegates from Quebec, or give them autonomy, which will turn them into a vassal, which isn't really what I'm looking for. I think we can talk with Quebecois delegates. Okay, so we have agreed on giving more funding to Quebecois schools and let them teach French in them, as well as adopt a policy of bilingualism nationwide. Okay, so now bilingualism is the Canadian policy. We lost a bit of money, but I think that's okay. We gained a bit with the other event. So I guess that's just what we're doing, unless something happens. Let's see. Oh, okay. Her Majesty's Royal Tour. On an attempt to visit every Canadian province, Her Majesty and Prince Philip have visited the Canadian Dominion. Though a well-thought-out tour for a couple, instability is still present. Without our best attempts, nationalists and radicals have a fair chance at political assassination attempts. We can either choose to give her all the security Canada has to offer, or we can just ignore it, and I think we already know we're gonna give her security. It's not that much money, and it will improve our happiness a bit, which is already going pretty fine. It's 95%, so we don't have to worry, but still. You don't want the queen to die, or the princess, I guess, at the time. Let's see where this brings us. And we have the Nationalist Party, creation of the Nationalist Party, created through mergers of the famed Canadian National Socialist Party and the Canadian Union of Fascists. The Canadian far right now have a solid foothold in Canada. Many called for their banning, but many others would like to see this new party given a chance in the weakening Canadian Parliament. You can either ban the Nationalists or, you know, say, allow them to operate. That's a good question. Well, since I went for the communist path in Spain in the last episode, I think I'm gonna go with the allow them to operate, just to counterbalance. Which will ruin our, I guess, happiness, but not that much. I mean, America has worse happiness than us, so I think it's gonna be fine. Just like IRL. Oh, Christ, okay. Second Christie Pitts writes, savage attacks by the Nationalist Party have been carried out all over the Greater Toronto area against Jews, Polish immigrants, and American tourists. The events have been condemned by multiple newspapers as barbaric across Canada, and many call for us to act. We can either send in the National Guard or let the police be lenient with them. And this is a good question, and we should really think about it. This will give us troops, so that's good. Will lower our happiness, or will give us, and will also actually lower our money. While this one will just get more happy, like the nationalists will be more happy. Now let's just be lenient, let's not bother too much with them. Okay, so Italy has fully annexed Yugoslavia, that is insane. Okay. And Albania has become an Italian protectorate. Canadian polls of 1939. Canada lies in shock at the Nationalist Party shocked the nation with an incredible rise in predicted results. The Communist Party have also done surprisingly well, however violence between the two has to stop, meaning the banning of one is not both. Like it's necessary. So we can ban the Communists or ban the Fascists. Again, since we did Communist last time, I'm gonna go with ban the Communists. Okay. War with Germany. So basically the US has not entered the war yet, but World War II has actually started. So yeah, Germany is against Poland, France, the Netherlands, United Kingdom, a bunch of nations, Luxembourg, Belgium, even Sweden somehow, Danzig, yeah, bunch of nations. So you can choose join them, or like would they join, like remain normal with the USA, not do anything. This is like complicated because if we join the war, we don't actually join the allies, so we can actually gain stuff normally without actually being pained in the ass from our allies. But if we don't join, we'll actually improve relations with the US, meaning they won't attack us ever, which is like super great. I think we're gonna go with neutrality for now. Maybe join manually later. I don't know, let's see. And holy shit, we actually got cool. Okay, this is okay. I'm shocking all over Canada today as the city of Calgary sees itself seized by the forces of Adrian Arcand. Adrian Arcand entered the city's hall today, surrounded the black shirts, and declared the creation of a Canadian national state, demanding immediate surrender of all the Canadian government as nationalist forces, empowered by the seizing of the National Armory, threatened to capture Ottawa and Montreal. Yeah, we're becoming a fascist state. And there we go. We are now the Canadian state, so we're a fascist nation, which would make no sense if we're a war. As you can see, as soon as we could become fascist, the relations with Germany improve a lot. We actually won't be able to join the Axis because that would be way too far-fetched. I mean, if we join the Axis, it would take like 4 minutes for the USA to completely invade us and kill us, so no thank you. But we will do something else. Normal events have gone by now, so like the event tree, I am pretty sure it's finished for now. But as you can see, a lot of events for Canada have been added, and there is another path, which is a communist path, which is completely different, and there are other paths which are a bit more secrets. Okay. A lot of music has been added in this update too, so new music for the game. Yeah, a lot of music already was... Oh shit. Germany is doing hella fine. They annexed the entirety of northern France, so they managed to capitulate them, and then they actually managed to capitulate Poland. Damn, also what the fuck is Estonia doing here? Anyway. So yeah, going really good in Europe. Let's actually see, like, when you look at that. Oh, even Jesus, even Turkey went on the gangbanging. So not even Turkey now is neutral. Turkey's also in the Axis. Kind of wish there was an event to join the Axis, but even with like maximum rations, we can't really do that because you know, too many allies. And Japan is in the Alliance, right? No, wow, Japan has not joined the Axis. And they actually won against China, like brutally won, as you can see. They already peaced out, so that's interesting. And Philippines is still normal, nothing really happening here. Hey. Okay, so now we have a dying economy and over 80,000 troops, which will be more than enough for this invasion. And the Soviets actually are already invading Sweden, so it should be way easier than expected. Let's get our armies here. And it appears the Soviets have declared war against the Allies, which is, well, it's certainly something, I guess. Also notice how Germany hasn't really gone after Czechoslovakia after a certain point. Very good. The bug fixing are working. Okay, so actually, you know what I'll actually do? We're actually gonna go against Denmark. You know why? Because of Greenland and Iceland. And this should be it. Oh, okay, apparently this is not it. What did we forget? The goddamn little island, Bornholm. Why do I always forget about the existence of this island? It is so insignificant. Like, I think someone lives here, but like, it's not important. And somehow I always forget the provinces exist. I thought of making it like a wasteland. But if I made a wasteland, that would be a bit unrealistic because, you know, it is still a pretty, like, it's an integral part of Denmark. Because the AI of this game is trash, and it can't be modded, so I can't really change it. And that's it, we finally won against Denmark, so we will be able to take all of this. And I think that's where we will stop for today. We've created somewhat of an empire, but I mean, we can't really call it that. It's just like Canada plus the territories we annexed from Britain plus these two big islands and Denmark. We're actually gonna release Denmark as a vassal, as a fascist vassal. The flag of Denmark as a fascist state is so fucking cool. And there we go, so Denmark is this normal European now. And we can maintain our hold on the islands, even up to the Faroes. And I can't wait to release the updates, so we can all play as Canada, Mexico, and most of all Austria. It has a very good event tree that has been added in this update. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.